Welcome to the regional tutorial. You have this Excel file to open, and we are going to calculate a campaign that spent $6.6 million and figure out how much of that money was allocated across the regions. So there is a note tab in case you want to refer to notes, the written notes. And it tells us the purpose of this exercise is to calculate the regional costs and to ensure that costs are aligned appropriately to the regional brand objectives. All costs that you need are in the blocking chart. So we're going to start with magazines, and the first thing we need to do is go to the geographic distribution chart. What you'll see in here is the list of all the magazines purchased for the campaign, along with the circulation for each magazine. So we need to figure out some totals. So what I'm going to do is start down here and figure out $150,000 for Le Magazine, how much was allocated across the regions, so times that percent, and I'm going to anchor it so I can copy and paste down. So I'm going to anchor B5 because that's my number that I want to calculate everything against. Once I have it done once, we can copy and paste across. Okay, so now we have converted the circulation numbers based on their percent circulation. We've converted it into absolute numbers down here. And this is what we need for step 2. So we're going to copy this. We're going to go into the magazine regional costs. And as you can see down here, there's notes to please copy and paste special. So click in the first cell, which is B5, right mouse click, paste special, and you want just the values, so you don't want any formulas, and you want to transpose. Okay, so the numbers from this chart, geographic, these numbers were in columns. When we transpose it into here, it's now in rows. So now we can add up our total circulation, just total distribution, add that because we want to get a grand total over here so that we can calculate how much of the total circulation was allocated to each region. So take that, not times it, sorry, divide by this, anchor H14 because everything's going to be calculated to that, and because it's a column, you put the $ in front of the letter because we're going to go across. As a double check, this should equal 100. Perfect. Now we need to now, because we've converted back to percentage, we want to allocate 2% of the money spent on magazines to Atlantic Canada, 17 to Quebec, 56 to Ontario, and so forth. So when you click in here, you'll see it's linked up to the blocking chart. So everything, all the money spent by medium is in the blocking chart, and this is for magazines. So we want to allocate 2% of that expenditure to Atlantic Canada. So equals this times that percentage. We will now anchor A17 because we're going across. Your double check should equal 839. Oops, I've missed something. Do this again. I think I missed BC. What? It's not giving me BC. Come on. Get in there. There we go. So you've done it correctly when your total equals what was spent. So this is what you want for your regional costing chart. So copy, go into your regional costs, and paste it special, just the values. We don't need any formulas, so that's correct. Now let's go do television. So regional TV, find the amount on the blocking chart. So how much money was spent on specialty? Use a formula so you don't run into any problems of retyping and getting errors. So equals, go into the blocking chart. How much was spent on specialty? See, right there. So equals that, and then just enter. Now you can find out how much was total TV. Do the same thing. Total 3.6 million, and allocate the specialty by population percent, so equals that times that. Put a $sign in front of C1, because I'm going to copy and paste down. Okay, so that's correct because it's 400,000, 400,000. So because specialty is bought on a national basis, we're trying to allocate some of that, it's estimates, so 7% of all the money spent on specialty will be allocated to Atlantic Canada. Because you have selective television and you buy by region, you can just pull those numbers from the blocking chart. Equals that. Maritimes, 200,000. I'm just going to go and get all the rest of the markets. Quebec, Ontario, Mansask, Alberta, and BC. Okay, so everything's added up correctly, 3.6 million. We want the total cost now to put into our regional chart. So we're going across, so we need to pay special, values, and transpose. Movie theaters, let's do the same thing. It's going to be a little easier. We just go get the cost for movie theaters right here. There we go. Same formula. 850 times 7%, $sign in front of the 1. Copy. Paste special. Values, transpose. Now for out of home, you don't have to do that extra step of allocating by percentage because you buy out of home in markets. So just go get the numbers from the blocking chart. Out of home, Montreal, right there. Ontario. These two combined, so that plus this. Add that up. Internet. Okay, so we will have to do the same because internet is also national. We spent that much. Allocate by region. Don't forget that $sign. Because we're going down, we put it in front of the 1. Copy. Paste special. Values. Transpose. Add that up. We'll figure this out in a moment. Let's get our totals by region. How much was spent in Atlantic Canada? Go across. Add this up. Should equal how much was spent, 6.6 million, 6.6 million. Now, how much of the budget was spent in Atlantic Canada? So equals, this was how much spent in Atlantic Canada of the total budget. I'm going to put a $sign in front of the I. I'm going to anchor, I'm going to go across. Should equal 100. Okay. Do the same up here, figure out how much of television was spent in television of the total budget, so equals TV, divided by that. This time the $sign goes in front of the 16 because I'm going to copy and paste down. So 54% of money spent on television was allocated to television, 13% of your budget allocated to movie theaters, and so forth. So this is the last step, is figuring out the variance. And the variance, the whole purpose of regional is to show the client that you have spent accordingly. You've allocated their budget according to their brand users, or in sometimes the category development. So let's see how much money was spent in each region compared to the brand users. So I have spent 5% of my budget compared to 8% of my users is a variance of 3%. Let's calculate across, see what happened. So look at this one, 20% more of the budget was spent in Ontario versus the brand users. Now, if you had the category development numbers right underneath, you could probably assume that it was done purposely to spend extra money in Ontario because the category development index was higher, therefore indicating opportunities, so they wanted to spend more money in Ontario, so they were taking money from Atlantic Canada and the other markets. And that, my friends, is the purpose of doing a regional costing exercise, to show how much was spent in accordance with the brand users and category development index. And you will complete one of these charts, so you just need to do a chart just like this for your, you probably won't have brand users, but if you have category percentage, that's fine. So you will do this for your own campaign, allocate your budget according, break it down by market, and if you've used magazines, you'll have to start with the geographic distribution chart, convert that into a magazine regional costing, and then you'll finish with just one nice summary chart. And that concludes this tutorial.